Welcome to this Fundamentals Lesson Plan series on walkthroughs. In this video, we'll take a look at exporting the walkthrough that we created in video 1 to the AVI file format. This is video 2 of 2. My name is John Harridge, and I'll be your host for today's lesson. Let's look at the learning objectives for video 2. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to specify export settings to create an AVI file format. We'll take a look at different export types in terms of visualization styles, and then we'll create the AVI file that you can share with other stakeholders. With that, let's get started. Let's begin the exercise by opening up an existing project file. So go ahead and click Open and navigate to your tutorial folder. Select either the visualization walkthrough exercise 1 finished, which is what I'm going to do to continue on, or select exercise 02. To begin, walkthroughs are located in the project browser. They have their own folders. Let me expand that. So I just want you to know that those views exist. And the walkthrough view needs to be the current view in order to create AVI files. So to begin that workflow, let's go to the Revit menu, select Export, select Images and Animations, and then select the Walkthrough option. Settings dialog box comes up. By default, we're going to capture all the frames as part of this video, but you could do a subset of that if that was conducive to your workflow. Next up, we can specify the number of frames per second. So basically how fast, what's the speed of your animation. So the lower the number, the longer the video will be. Next up is the visualization styles. By default, it's set to hidden line, but there's obviously some other choices in here, and we'll come back to those. You can also specify the size of the image. Let's go ahead and click OK to continue. Next, we give the file a name, so let's save it in our tutorial folder. I'm going to simplify the name. I'm just going to call it Walkthrough 1. If we click Options, it just shows the previous settings dialog box in case we wanted to make any last-minute changes. I'm going to click Cancel to close that out, and then click Save to actually create the AVI file. The last thing that we have to do is specify our video compression. For this example, we'll use uncompressed, but you may want to come back to this and explore other options that are available to you based on your video card, in case that gives you a better performance. Let's go ahead and click OK to continue. And now, while the walkthrough is playing, it's also generating the AVI video file. So just hang tight. You do have to go through the entire process. We will take a look at producing several videos. So this is just video take 1. Hidden line serves as a good proof video for stakeholders before adding additional visuals or going too far into the design process. All right, so the video has been created. Let's open up Windows Explorer to go locate that AVI file. So I'll go ahead and browse back out to the tutorial folder. And you should be able to find your AVI file there. Go ahead and double left click to open it, and I'll start playing immediately upon opening. I'll go ahead and expand it to be full view. And here we just want to look at what we're capturing, but also the depth of field. Is it correct? Are you able to see the trees entirely? And if not, we'll go back and modify. The video will continue to loop until you hit pause or stop. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out the window. And let's create another video, but this time I'd like to turn the shadows on just to give it some more character. So in the View Control toolbar, if you click on Shadows on, enables the shadows to be displayed in the model view. Now let's go ahead and recreate another AVI. So going to the Revit menu, export, images and animations, go ahead and click walkthrough again. This time we'll accept the defaults as is and click OK to continue. Let's give the name walkthrough 1 hidden shadows. And once you give it a name, go ahead and click Save to continue. Click OK to accept the video compression settings and watch the animation. And in particular, do you spot something unusual about the shadows on the building? Did you catch it? The shadows are moving relative to the camera, not relative or not remaining fixed relative to the house. You can even see this on the front elevation. The shadows should not be animating in this manner. So we'll correct this issue in a moment. But it's good to understand that just turning on the shadows button by itself doesn't always create a perfect solution. So we'll go ahead and let this run through, and then we'll go and follow up by correcting the shadow display issue. Alright, so to correct the shadow display, let's go into the sun path icon in the View Control toolbar. Click the sun settings icon to bring up the configuration dialog box. And note the current sun settings is set to lighting, so that's why it's following the camera. It's basically coming from like the upper right hand corner relative to the screen, not relative to the building. So to correct that, simply select the still radio button in the upper left hand corner, and then let's go ahead and choose the winter solstice as one way to set the shadows. We'll accept the defaults for that and click OK to continue. And just note where the shadow line appears for that time of year. So hopefully the shadows remain fixed. Let's go ahead and generate another AVI video. But before we do that, let's go ahead and adjust the depth of field. I noticed that in the initial part of the video clip, the trees on the east side were being clipped out of the video. So let's open up the level 1 plan view, right click on the walkthrough 1 video or view and tell it to show camera. And then for the triangle, to make that editable, click on Edit Walkthrough and drag that depth of field grip beyond the extents of the trees on the right hand side of the floor plan. Go ahead and click Open View to open up the walkthrough view and hit the play button. And the shadows are remaining fixed. That's a good sign. And I can also see the trees on the east side of the property now in the initial portion of the animation clip. So I've solved 2 issues now. Shadows are resolved and the visibility of the trees is now resolved. Alright, I was trying to cancel the preview, but it's going to continue through. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Let's now recreate the AVI video. So going back to the Revit menu, export, images and animations. Go ahead and select walkthrough. We'll go ahead and accept the defaults. Click OK. We'll actually override the previous AVI file name now that we've got the settings correct. Click Save and then click Yes to overwrite the file. And then click OK to actually generate the video. So far everything's looking good. After this video is created, feel free to explore other visualization styles not demonstrated in this particular exercise, like shading with edges. There's realistic mode, and then there's also a high level of detail with rendering modes. But of course, as we add complexity or higher visualization details, the longer it will take to actually create the video. So be prepared to wait longer and longer as you add additional refinements and details. Okay, the video is now complete. Let's go ahead and save the file. Back to our tutorial folder. Let's go ahead and give it the name Visualization Walkthrough Exercise 02 Finished. Click Save to give it a name. This concludes this exercise. Let's go ahead and take a look at next steps. Let's review the learning objectives for video 2. In this lesson, you were able to specify export settings for creating an AVI file format. We looked at different export options in terms of selecting visualization styles, and then we finally created the AVI file format so you can actually share your animations with other stakeholders. With that, let's take a look at Autodesk resources that are available to you. I would like to make you aware of two Autodesk resources. The first resource is the Autodesk Education Community, where you can access free software for both students and educators for titles like Autodesk Revit featured in this series. The website address is www.students.autodesk.com. Registration is required to access the free software using either your personal email address or your school-issued email address. The second resource is the Autodesk Digital STEAM Workshop. It's hands-on, project-based learning across multiple industries such as architecture, engineering, and entertainment. The website address is www.digitalsteam.autodesk.com. Registration is required to download the free learning resources using your Autodesk ID created from the Autodesk Education Community. You will find the Fundamentals of Architecture series under the Subject pull-down menu, Architecture link. Assets include step-by-step instructions, datasets, and videos. This concludes this lesson overview summary. Thank you for watching.